Indiana Fever, many fans is still poking fingers at head coach Stephanie White for actually making the game not entertaining anymore, bro. This motion offense has to be addressed, and Stephanie White has to be held accountable because it's truly the offense that she's running, and it is not for Caitlin Clark at this point. Now, both Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White spoke to the media immediately.
Breaking news just shook the WNBA to its core. Caitlin Clark, the league's biggest draw and brightest star, just dropped a health bombshell that left fans stunned and insiders scrambling. The truth? It's more than just bad coaching or missed calls. It's physical exhaustion, emotional burnout, and a league that's dangerously close to wasting the greatest generational talent it's ever seen.
I thought at times we could have played a little bit faster, and I think that's on me, like not conceding in that. We still got to play up tempo. We still got to play fast. But I mean, I thought for the most part we did a lot of stuff that coach wanted us to do, and that wasn't why we lost.
I can't hold you, man. That kind of looked like she let that slip out, man. I don't know. But I mean, we all see it. When they play slow, it's just not a good team, man. They're not as good as we see that they could be, right? So they need to play fast, man. I think, they don't necessarily look that good when they're playing half-court ball. Maybe taking something from the Valkyries, man. The Valkyries run, all right? They be running.
Following a disappointing loss to the Aces, Caitlin Clark finally broke her silence, and she didn't hold back. Quoting, "We have to play faster? I didn't do that." But under the surface, fans saw what the cameras barely caught: an exhausted star trying to hold up an entire franchise while her coach, Stephanie White, ran an offense built for someone else.
The league needs to take care of Caitlin, not for special treatment purposes, but that's who everybody's there to see. Everybody wants to see Caitlin Clark play. And if you let other teams and other people beat the shit out of her, she's going to spend 2 weeks out injured. And your attendance is going to drop because people aren't going to get the chance to see her. And if you actually want to be paid the same as the NBA players, obviously not by actual dollar for dollar, but for revenue percentage, you need to protect her. You need her to be playing at her best and not be having the...
Clark's comments triggered speculation that her health, both mental and physical, is in jeopardy. Insiders are calling it a burnout spiral. Repeated shoulder checks, missed whistles, and a system that isolates her instead of lifting her. Referees treat her like she's not a star, they treat her like she's disposable.
Vegas Aces defeated the Indiana Fever 89-81. And this game was disappointing for many fans, not only for the fact that it seemed like the Fever had this one in the bag, but they kind of gave it away at the end of the game, but also because it seemed like there was something off with this Fever team. They didn't have the same energy and spark that we all know and love. So many fans are asking, what is going?
Fans aren't blind. Thousands have taken to social media to call out both the league and Stephanie White's stagnant game plan. The message is clear: protect Caitlin or lose her. Because she's not just a player, she's the engine driving WNBA viewership into record-breaking territory.
I have figured out the solution to the Indiana Fever's problems. Hear me out, hear me out, hear me out. This is what we gotta do. We gotta put Caitlin Clark off ball. We need to run a motion offense, so when the defense takes away what Caitlin Clark does best, we have other players that can still perform, so when she does have bad games, we're not completely dead in the water. I think that is the best way to move forward with this Indiana Fever team.
Clark is averaging more hits per game than some NFL rookies, and it's showing. Multiple sources confirm she's dealing with chronic soreness, emotional strain, and severe overuse. ESPN's latest analyst said it best: she's the most hunted player on the court, but treated like the least important.
First, talk about Caitlin Clark. So she struggled once again in this game. She was 7 for 20 from the field and 1 for 10 from 3, which puts her at 1 for 17 over the past few games. And if you're a fan of Caitlin Clark, you know that this is so unlike her. She is arguably the best shooter in the WNBA, and she is having a significant cold streak over the past 2 games. But her missing shots isn't actually what bothers me. The thing that bothered me most in the game yesterday was the one shot shot that she passed up. Now, she had been missing a few shots, and if you guys were on my live stream, I said the thing that she needs to do is to continue shooting. Shooters shoot. The only way to break a cold streak is to continue shooting.
Let's be real, this isn't basketball anymore. It's gladiator combat, and Caitlyn's the target. How did we get here? Why is the league turning a blind eye to the physical punishment their top asset is enduring?
Wait, what'd you say? Wait, what? Did you just tell me that Stephanie White went on an interview tour this whole entire offseason saying exactly that? Did you just tell me Stephanie White went on an So how come when Caitlin Clark has a bad game, this team looks like absolute dog shit? How come when Caitlin Clark isn't busy backpacking this team, it looks like absolute dog shit, coach? Just a question. Just a question. What we saw today, I feel bad for everybody that had to sit through that. Everybody that wasted 2 hours and 25 minutes watching the Indiana Fever versus the Las Vegas Aces. I feel bad that we had to sit through that. That was a tough watch.
Since turning pro, Caitlyn's been at the center of not just the spotlight, but the storm. From heated rivalries with Angel Reese to media takedowns and veteran skepticism, Clark's every move is dissected, criticized, weaponized. And now, her health is collateral damage.
Well, I think you have to look at things a little bit holistically. I think Caitlin Clark is a really hard player to officiate, much like Diana Taurasi was throughout the course of her career, for a couple of reasons. Caitlin Clark regularly gets picked up in the full court. She also gets blitzed more over the course of her career than any player in WNBA history or in that period of time. And she also creates some contact herself on the offensive end of the floor. She is very difficult to officiate because of all of the contact that's happening around her.
Indiana Fever is failing her. Plain and simple. When Clark passes to the wing, there's no off-ball movement. When she drives, there's no spacing. It's like asking a Ferrari to run in a swamp and then blaming the car.
Well, I be damned. I be damned. 7 for 20 from the field, 1 for 10 from the three-point line. And look at those turnovers, 8 turnovers. She leads the league in turnovers. But guess what? Her Clarkies are only going to be impressed, and they're going to brag about the 19 points and 10 assists. Me personally, I'm all about efficiency. I'm concerned about those last 3, them turnovers, which she leads the league in turnovers. She is shooting horrible from the field. And as far as them three-pointers, in the last 2 games, she's only made 1 3-pointer, and that's the one against the Aces.
And now, the physical toll is impossible to ignore. Reporters noted she skipped key practices this week. Her shooting efficiency is plummeting. And that fire in her eyes? It's flickering. The WNBA begged for a hero. But what happens when that hero breaks?
That the Indiana Fever were trying to be that team that runs you off the floor, that hustles. I felt like they were the deepest team. Like, looking at the roster, man, they actually have some players that could run the floor. And I'm just like, dang, bro, it's really crazy to see that they're not really trying to run the floor like I would expect them to. And also using Michaela Timpson. Like, that is some young pair of legs, man. You should be using Michaela Timpson to help you run the floor, play lockdown defense, hustle defense, winning the 50-50 balls. You need young legs to do that.
This is the same Caitlin Clark who turned college basketball into a primetime event, who forced ESPN to rearrange schedules, who made casual fans care. She's not just the face of a franchise, she's the face of women's basketball. And she deserves better.
But this is a regular season game. There's no player that's going to be that depressed about a loss. The emotion that she's having right now, that's emotion that you have when you lose a championship. But they didn't lose a championship. So it's only one other thing. It's the coach. I knew something was up, y'all. I played basketball all my life. I played point guard. There was something off about Miss Caitlin when I was watching that Aces game. And I couldn't put my finger on it. It just seemed like Miss Caitlin, she was definitely unmotivated. She looked defeated the whole game. She didn't look like she was having fun. And that is always because of the coach.
Voices from across the sports world are speaking up. NBA players, former WNBA legends, even NCAA coaches are calling out the injustice. One tweet went viral. You don't let a diamond drown in mud. That tweet got over 8 million views.
Reason any professional athlete or any ball player is not having fun on the field because this is the game they love. They've been loving this since they was a kid. Because the only reason a player is not having a good time playing the game that they love is because the coach is trying to put shackles on them, trying to control them too much. With a player like Caitlin, you gotta let them loose. This is something that Steve Kerr had to realize when he was dealing with Steph. Steph was shooting all them logo threes. He was shooting all the shots early in the shot clock. Steve Kerr would shake his head. He'd be like, oh, what are you doing? But after a while, he had to let this player do his thing. Bro, that was the first time I ever seen Caitlin Clark walk the ball down the court.
Still, Clark shows up. Every game, every interview, every loss. She signs autographs for fans who drove 600 miles just to watch her warm up. But the league? Still silent. Still pretending this isn't a crisis.
You know what? I don't think Stephanie White is like a fan of Caitlin's demon time and, you know, her getting all riled up and pumping up the crowd. I don't think she's a fan of that shit. Some coaches, like, they don't like that shit. For example, when Allen Iverson came into the league, him and Larry Brown did not get along because Larry Brown used to tell him to tone it down and not be himself and stuff like that. But I think that's what's going on with this team right now. Because when I was watching that game, man, it just did not feel right. Like, she just looked like she was just so sad about playing. It felt like she was being forced to play a certain type of...
But numbers don't lie. Caitlin's presence boosts ticket sales, national ratings, and media buzz by margins no player has ever done. Without her, the WNBA slips into obscurity. If this is a long-term injury brewing, the consequences will be catastrophic. She's more than a baller, she's a movement. But even movements need rest. Even legends in the making need protection. If the WNBA doesn't wake up now, they'll lose her. And they'll only have themselves to blame. So here's the question. Is Caitlin Clark being sacrificed on the altar of mismanagement? Or will the league rise up, protect its crown jewel, and finally give her the system, respect, and rest she's earned? Because if not, the WNBA's brightest light might just burn out. Let us know in the comments. Is Caitlin Clark being protected or exploited? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We're just getting started. Something's wrong. Caitlin Clark, once the unstoppable force redefining the WNBA, just revealed a bombshell about her health that has the entire league, her fans, and media insiders spiraling. This isn't just about bad coaching or missed shots. This is about burnout, betrayal, and a possible downfall no one saw coming. The numbers are staggering. 7 of 20 shooting, 1 for 10 from 3, and a league-leading 8 turnovers. On paper, it's just a cold streak. But when you zoom in, something more serious emerges. Coach Stephanie White's system is under fire.